Hi everyone, a very good afternoon. So let's start with a quick roundup of a few questions that you might be having in your mind regarding the workshop. So there's a small exercise that we'll be doing today, and I hope all attendees are able to see the screen. Okay, there's an anonymous attendee who's written a message which says, do we get internship opportunities? Yes, we do give and provide internship opportunities, both freelancing as well as working full-time in-house for a company. So herein, you'd get all that you desire, but you need to be sure, I'm sorry, you need to be sure about what you want to be. As in, you want to go for creative writing, you want to go for content writing or technical writing, because this complete course is a mixed bag, a package of all these things. So here's my first question for the audience. I want you all to describe content writing, what it means for you in one word. It's a very simple step. I'd request all of you to log into www.menti.com. That's MENTI.com. Here, I'm just annotating and you'd be able to see where do you have to log in. Post login, it's going to ask you for a code, and the code is again being displayed on the screen. The code is 4315323. I'd repeat, you can log in through any device, whether it's your cell phone device or your laptop. You simply need to log in to www.menti.com, and it's going to ask you for a simple code. The same code is 4315323. Let's be quick. I need everybody logging in to menti.com, www.menti.com. I'd repeat the instructions for people who've joined in recently. I need everybody to be logging in to www.menti.com, and it's going to ask you for a small code. Okay, great. I have one person who's stated that it relates to communication. Let's see what others have in their mind. What kind of a communication is this? Is this a two-way communication or is it a one-way communication? Okay, this relates to informative writing as well. Great, people. Imagination, creativity are great aspects of the same. All right, let's see what others think. Awesome. We have creativity, describing a given product, explanation, research, topic, creative. Okay. Let's see what others have to think about. Let's be quick. Let's log in quickly. For those who've joined in right now, who've been with us for quite some time, know what to do. Those who've joined in right now, a quick instruction for them. You need to log into www.menti.com, and the code given on the screen top, 4315323, is what you have to enter, and you have to write the question, the answer to the question that you see on your screen. Okay, it says it's expression, explanation, gripping. Then it says it's imaginative, interesting, substance. Okay, how do you think content writing relates to substance? Substance as to what you want to explain. Okay, expression, gripping, research, explanation again, conveying ideas, describing products. Okay, I have 9 people who've responded. Let's be quick. Awesome. It says explanation, description, ideas. Let's enlarge the word bank. Let everybody join. You can even answer multiple times. You can see if you want to include something else to it as well. expression, description. Let's see what else is there. Okay, people who are answering in the chat box, I'd request you to log in to www.menti.com. It'll ask you for a code, and the code here that you have to enter is 4315323. Please log in and please share your details here. What content writing means to you. For those who are joining in right away, a quick instruction for you. Let's log into www.menti.com, and the code that it's going to ask you is given on the screen top, 4315323. Let's enlarge the word bank that we have, and let's see what all is included in content writing. Great, we have new people joining in. People, just a quick repeat instruction. www.menti.com is where you have to log in. You can log in through any device, whether it be your cell phone or your laptop. It's going to ask you for a simple code. Enter the code 4315323, and please enlarge the word bank that we're able to see here. Okay, it says expressing emotions, passive income source. Okay, but why do we want to call it passive? We have a lot of people who are live engaged into this process. Review, research, great. We have great words coming in: interesting, imaginative, value-based description, writing about a given niche. Okay, what else? Observations, thoughts, topics. Let's increase the word bank quickly, people. Expression, idea, substance, thoughts, blogging, and it's also mind-boggling at times because you have to think a lot when you have to write about a given thing. Creativity, interesting, great. Those who are joining in right away, a quick repeat instruction for you people. Please make sure you're logging into www.menti.com. It's going to ask you for a code. You see the code live on the screen. Enter it and answer the question. You have to describe what content writing means to you in one word. Great. We have a bigger pool of words now. Interesting, explanative, descriptive. Great. People who are writing in the chat box, I just request you to come to mentimeter.com and increase the word bank here so that we have a bigger word bank to think around. Just have to log into www.menti.com. Can be done through any device that you are working on, your phones, your laptops, iPads, anything. It's going to ask you for a code. The code is going to be 4315323. Let's see how we increase the word bank. Let's be quick, last 2 minutes. Let's quickly pour in as many words as we can. Great. I see the word bank increasing. Those replying on the chat box, please make sure you're logging into menti.com. Let's be quick. 1.5 minutes left. Let's increase the word bank. Informative writing, value-based descriptions, imagination, self-explanatory, okay, gives you an income opportunity as well. Leads a lot of imagination, awesome. Creative as well, definitely. You get an opportunity to share your thoughts, Express your views. Great. Last 1 minute, people. Let's pour in quickly. Those who are joined in right now. Simple instruction. Please log into www.menti.com and use the code that's flashing on the screen, 4315323. Pour in with your thoughts about content writing. Oh, great. Someone writes that it gives satisfaction as well. Yes, whatever you write gives you a great amount of satisfaction. It's imaginative. It gives you freedom. It's all about your creativity. It's all about your expression, your viewpoint as well. Great. Let's do it quickly. Last 30 seconds. Okay, it kindles excitement. Great. All right, now taking you back to where we have to begin from. So here, there's a small instruction that you have to follow before we begin. I'd request you to keep posting your questions, whatever you have in mind, as and when we are talking. And I'd be answering all questions in the middle as well as at the end once we begin. So please don't think that you've posted it, I'm not answering it. It takes some time and I'd surely revert onto your questions. So here, while I'm talking about this course structure in detail initially. So this course basically has 7 modules that we're going to cover. The initial is the input module, your input skills. As we know, when we talk about input skills, these are basically your language skills as well as your internet skills. Language, when we talk about specifically, we talk about not what we speak, but it's a difference when we speak versus when we write. Next is followed by your internet skills. Internet today is a big source of information, a bigger pool, a bigger chunk. And we need to make sure that whatever we are doing, whatever we are, writing needs to go onto the internet. But with so much of information already there on the internet, how do we make sure that our information stands out? That is what we're going to learn through this course. Next comes our core skills, which are mandatory and a must requirement when it comes to writing. So this includes your academic writing types, your research writing, and technical writing. Now, there was this small question posted in the chat box for me that said, what's the difference between creative and technical writing? When it comes to creative writing is all about your creativity, how you use different kind of words, your vocabulary, the way you present a given information. On the other hand, technical writing is basically about the technique of writing. You cannot kindle with a lot of vocabulary here because we simply say that there are 3 major people whom we are writing for. One refers to your technical experts who are going to know each and everything about the subject matter that you're talking about. Second is going to be the businessmen who are going to be into the business but might not know all the technicalities involved in writing. And the third refers to the novice people who are just reading it for their knowledge base. Again, the third category of people might not know all the technical jargons or the technical terminologies that you'd be using. So here, technical writing is structured writing. You're given a specific format. You need not move left and right. The simplest way here is that you stick to the format and you write. The next is your creative writing type. I've just elaborated the difference between the two. The next one is your business and marketing writing types. This is again something that is very much new into the industry, and we are catering to the business and marketing as a segment as a whole. This brings us to the output skills. What kind of an output are you going to receive here? So your content strategy, the way you're going to strategize for your content in a given amount of time. Here, we are also going to give you skills which are going to help you earn online as to how you can basically earn from the skills that you've just received during this courseware. a lot of pool of words that we collected on Mentimeter, which basically referred to what content writing is all about. It's a mixture, it's a mixed bag of course here. We are talking about all your skills that you have to have when it comes to writing. Writing is simply not what I speak and you write, or what you read and you write. It's quite different from this particular scenario. So let's look at these modules in a little detail as to what fine tuning are we going to give you under these modules. So first comes our language skills. When we talk about language as a whole, content forms a basic part of it. So as we were discussing all those terminologies, let's come to a specific definition of content. It's as in publishing, art and communication, content is information as well as experiences that are directed towards an end user or an audience. There was a simple statement which said that it's a one-way communication. No, your content is never ever a one-way communication. It's always a two-way communication. The day you believe that it's a one-way communication, you are communicating, but you're not receiving anything from the audience, that does mean the audience is not interested in reading whatever you're sharing with them. That day should not come ever in a writer's profile. Here, when we are talking about all these things, one thing that's most important is that content is the link building. How you build that kind of a link with your audience. How do you convince them? How do you persuade them? How do you motivate them to read whatever you're sharing with them? So here is what we're going to discuss. Language plays a very important role in content. So we're not just talking about how you convince, how am I speaking, but the way I am writing. Right from grammar to punctuations, to tones, to styles, etc. Everything has to be covered here. Understanding your target audience, we need to write for the audience. That is the major objective. Why? Because here when we are talking about our audience, we're not just talking about the readers. We're also talking about the people who might be viewing the content. They must not be going away from the screen just after reading the initial 2 lines. That is where our target audience comes into picture. Even if that person has come to our page, maybe our web link, maybe our blog, or any other piece of writing, he or she has to stay tuned to it. He or she has to remain stuck to that particular page. That is how your writing should be. It's also said that you're not writing for a group of people, but you're writing for one person. So it's good to understand what that individual's requirement is. Here, we are catering to individuals of same needs, same wants, same desires. So we are talking about the common needs, we're talking about the common wants and the common desires of that person. So here, it's a process that we follow. The process begins from your research. The time it comes to your writing, it says that grammatically, punctuation-wise, tone-wise, style-wise, your writing should suit the needs, wants, and desires of the people who are there. Now, here, when it comes to style, typically, the first question that comes up is, what is style? So for a writer, it's very important to know that what is this style and how effectively he or she wants to communicate. Here, I just pause for a minute to take the questions that have come. So it says that the first question is that what writing company or the reports that come under technical writing. So when we are talking about technical writing, we are talking about not just technicalities alone, means we're not just talking about the research domain. We are also offering things like memo writing, letter writing, report writing. We are covering medical writing. We are covering journals, etc. So all these clubbed together form a part of the technical writing course. So here, when we were talking from the writer's perspective, when we're talking about a typical style, we are talking about the tone in which the writer is writing, Why is the writer writing about that particular topic should be very much clear, and the ideology of the writer should also be very much clear. So here we are talking about these 4 styles in detail during the course, which is expository, narrative, persuasive, and descriptive. So when I talk about these styles, the descriptive and the narrative style are most commonly seen. If you must have read famous authors like Ruskin Bond, etc., he gives a fine tuning of detailing around what is happening. Some examples like Annie Frank's diary, some famous diaries that you must have read, some famous books, novels that you must have read, the fine tuning of the surrounding, the things that were available around, maybe in nature, in terms of, the surrounding description has been very detailed. That is where I'm talking about the description in detail rather than the main character. The main character comes into picture a little later. The narrative style is where the narrator himself is defining or describing things, wherein he or she absolutely begins, and then when the beginning, from the very beginning, he or she is there in the narration. It's a kind of a way wherein he's interacting with the audience. Next comes the persuasive style. In the persuasive style, we are going to talk about how someone is motivating or persuading you to complete a given task. Usually, this is given for the writing of speeches when it comes to your Bollywood celebrities, when it comes to your politicians, etc. An expository is your complete stock of information. When it comes to writing something like a product description, or it comes to writing a typical recipe book, each and every fine detailing is supposed to be there. A pinch of salt versus a tablespoon of salt versus a teaspoon of salt makes an entire difference. So each fine tuning has to be there in the entire expository of content. So when we talk about these styles, each of these styles is unique in its own way. And we also have much more to this module when it comes to language alone. When we talk about the basic jargons, we're going to talk about the difference between a tactic and a strategy, the difference between an expert and an influencer, agglomeration of content versus aggregation of content. When we talk about something that is loosely available, how do we attach the strings together to make it perfect as a content, versus creative versus technical writing. I've already talked about it in detail. Readability versus searchability. When you look at a content, is it readable? And versus searchability on the internet, what are the key factors that we need to do there? The content formats, both online versus offline, print versus digital. The transactional cost, even the cost structure that is involved when it comes to your print versus the other part. The second module of this content talks about the tone and its type, the writing styles, and how a writer needs to be different. Sentence structure, common grammatical errors, and the grammatical errors that we'd be highlighting here refer typically to the spelling difference between the UK spelling as well as the US spelling. So when we're talking about the difference, this is quite common because we are reading everything on the web in the US, whereas in English, in India, the English that we follow is the UK English. So it's a very common error that is identified in the writers while they're writing, like the spelling of color, C-O-L-O-U-R is the correct spelling, the UK spelling, but what we see usually is C-O-L-O-R. Behavior, B-E-H-A-V-I-O-U-R versus B without the U, goes for the US spelling. Now, when we're talking about these spellings, even the grammatical structure changes here. So now here, when we're talking about all these things, these are covered under module 1 of the course. Let's move on and see what more is there under module 1. Here we're talking about your presentation skills, which refers to your punctuations, like your commas, your full stops, even their usage. A very common thing that's observed is that when a person wants to increase the length of a sentence, instead of full stop, the person starts using a comma or even a semicolon. But the proper usage is not seen at. When we talk about question marks and exclamatory marks, it's very in these days that we see multiple question marks and multiple exclamatory marks. What one exclamation mark and one punctuation, one question mark does is equivalent to what those four do. So it's not necessary that you exaggerate your content by adding n number of question marks there. It's quite easy to see that one single question mark also covers the same thing. We're going to talk about the content flow and presentation, how the entire content should flow when it comes to a typical presentation, as well as the text designing. That means the proper usage of each of these punctuation marks. Not everything in the content needs to be in bolds, italics, or underline. Here, when we are typically talking about your sentence structure, when we are talking about your headers, that is where we use the bold highlight. The indentation, the bullet marks, the justification of your content, the entire formulation in terms of font size and even font style. So all these are covered under part 1C of module 1. So here, when we are talking about all these things, it brings us to module number 2, which is our internet skills. It's one of the most interesting modules because here we cover a lot of things under the bigger umbrella of internet. When we are talking about internet skills, we are talking about the web at large. How many of us know n number of other things that are available to us other than Google? Google is the first search engine that we go to. It's a banking upon that we do when it comes to searching. So the best search engine as per the results is definitely Google. And why do we respect Google so much? The only reason that we respect Google so much is that the reason is simple. Easy availability. You open your phone, you open a search box, and all you find there is Google. Yahoo definitely covered a lot of market a few years back, but due to one or the other reasons, Google has taken over the Android market and has given a tough competition to other search engines. So we're going to talk about the other search engines that are available to us, and we are also going to talk about the other search engines other than Google who are going to give us more precise and specific results. So let me take you to a few other search engines and how they work. You'll have to log on to this one. Let me share it with you here. The search engine that I'm talking about here is other than Google. So now, how many of you know other search engines than Google? You can talk in the chat box and tell me if anybody knows any other search engine rather than Google. Till then, there are a few questions in the chat box that I would want to take up. So here, someone has asked that, do we get assignments in the class as well? Yes. So each and every day, the topic that is being covered in the class, you do get assignments related to the same. The trainer reverts back with your assignments in terms of the accuracy, how much accurate it was, and how many students are there in a live session. When it comes to due to the pandemic, these days we are taking only online batches, and we are preferring that students ranging between 12 to 15. That's the ideal range of students in a session, because it gives you more of a chance to interact with each other and see what others are also doing. So now here, when we talk about in words, how can we use content? When it comes to content as a whole, content ranges somewhere from 100 words while you're writing some message onto social media versus 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 words when you're posting something for someone's website, when you're posting someone's articles, etc. So here in the chat box, I've received quite a number of things. It relates to Internet Explorer. Okay, that's the Explorer that you're talking about. Bing, okay. Byju's, okay, that's really great. And Okay, there's a question here. The research method syllabus again, you can definitely see that again. We'd be sharing the slides with you. So here I am talking about something else when it comes to a typical search engine. What search engine do you go to when it comes to searching for typical facts? Can you give me a search engine that you use for searching facts typically? Something that you want to relate to, where you find typical good facts and figures? Try giving me options for. Okay, there's something above Wikipedia as well. Let's see what others have to. Okay, there's Ask, there's Britannica. What else? We don't go to Pinterest. We use Pinterest basically for pictures, etc. Let's see. Come up in the chat box. Answer. Quora is basically for question answering and talking about facts in typical. Let's come up with more. YouTube is basically for your videos. What else do we use when it typically comes to your internet skills? Okay, we have come up with something that's great, which is Google Scholar. How many of you have heard about Google Scholar before? No one? Great. I see a few people saying that they've heard about Google Scholar. All right, those who've not can simply log into Google and search for Google Scholar. All right, what I'm going to take you through today is Wolfram Alpha. I simply need you to be typing on Google WOLFRAM Alpha. And I'm just sharing how the web page is going to look like. So when it comes to searching typically for facts and figures, this is the best solution because even Wikipedia picks up information and Google picks up information from here. Supposingly, I want to look out for the population of the US. I'll just change it. Now, when I'm talking about the United States, it's giving me the recent history from 1970 till the early 2000s, the transactions, how it's grown, the current population as per the recent estimate of the US, that is 2018, 2017. And it also gives me the age distribution as to what and how many people range between 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 15, so on and so forth. The population city-wise as well. When I talk about the New York City, the Los Angeles City, Chicago, Hudson, Phoenix, etc. Even the comparisons are mentioned here. So it gives me a complete detailed analysis of whatever information I am looking for. When I come back to its main page, this is how the main page looks like. It gives me information related to mathematics, science, society, everyday life, and there are more topics that follow. Please take quick 2 minutes to analyze the complete page and let me know that you've understood why we prefer Wolfram Alpha over others when it comes to factual information typically, because they say that here, when it comes to Wolfram Alpha, statistical information is more precise and updated. I hope everybody must have checked it by now. Okay, great. I could see a few messages popping up that you've checked it. So moving ahead here, I'm going to tell you what other research skills are we going to talk about, what other internet skills are we going to talk about under this module. And in case you have any other problem, you can keep posting them on the chat box or in the Q&A section. So here, the first part when it comes to research skill is advanced online search. Google itself is a bigger bag that we've not yet explored as writers. When it comes to our advanced searches, when it comes to searching what and what not, everything is there on Google advanced search option, which people have not yet explored much. Next comes the internet through Google, wherein we are talking about the bigger dimension of Google, when we are talking about the bigger aspects as to what we've not yet seen on Google. The Google Keyword Planner. Keywords are the most important things when it comes to writing. If you have the right amount of keywords in your content comes out outstanding. Wolfram Alpha, which we've just discussed, your cover page designing, logo designing, softwares, etc., that we're going to discuss in length at detail in some time here in this course. So when it comes to the course at large, the detailing of the course, that is what you have to look at on our website. You'll find all these details available on the website as well. The data and research portion actually includes your analytics as to what your website is standing at, how much ranking does Google give to your website, and there are other ranking parameters that we look at, that is Boorank and Alexa as well. Then we come to the editing skills, and when we come to the editing, we have multiple softwares that we are covering: Grammarly, Ginger, Hemingway, etc. Then comes to the legal know-how, wherein we are talking about checking about your copyrights. And the module 2 also covers the spinning software, because there's a lot of spinning in the market happening these days. People copying content, which we are not actually into, but as a writer, you should know how you can check for the same. Creative Commons, Google local pages, a lot on blogging as well, because blogging in itself is a bigger domain. Your article directories, content tags, categories, etc. So here, when we are talking about all of these things, it's a bigger umbrella, that is the internet, which covers all these smaller subtopics. Next, it brings us to the business and marketing writing, where we're talking about your catchy titles, how to include all these things as keywords into your content, the entire structure, how it needs to be planned. We prefer not giving and going for larger paragraphs, but going for shorter sentences and smaller paragraphs. So here's a small example that I would want you to go through when it comes to the best blogs, what makes it the best blog, and why are we talking about blogging? Because blog at this point in time is something that every business website requires. So under this module, we are also going to talk about search engine optimization, which is SEO writing, blogging, social media, ebook writing, magazines, newsletters, etc., which are broadly covered under any business. Next, we're going to also talk about your press releases, your book reviews, the product descriptions, resumes, cover page writing, not just their templates, but also in-depth writing of each of these. So it's a bigger umbrella that we are covering here. It next brings us to module 4, which is going to talk about our content strategy. So when it comes to writing a content, now you've got all information in terms of grammatical accuracy, in terms of how you're going to utilize the various internet skills, how you're going to talk about various things on the web. But now, how are you going to strategize all this content? So this is one basic rule that is given to every writer. Your writing is to researching time. There has to be a complete sync between these two. Your strategic goals of the organization have to be kept in mind. What important message the organization wants you to give or deliver to the ultimate audience has to be kept in mind. So here, a complete mind map has to be created when you're writing. It's not just about the introduction, main body, and ending, it's a lot more. So, this mind map basically takes the analysis, comprehension, synthesizing, and recall portion into picture. Here, as a writer, all these things have to be synced properly. Why? Because if there is any lag in any of the portion, the entire machinery won't work, the entire picture won't be clear. Here, when we start drawing a mind map, these are a few things that we keep in our mind. In the middle of a blank page, start writing or start drawing whatever comes to your mind. When you hear about a typical topic, like if you just remember a few minutes back, we had completed a complete picture, we had created a word bank of terms related to content writing. Whatever comes to your mind, whether it be words, whether it be phrases, pour them in on that picture. Start developing your subtopics. Each of those words came in from a different subtopic. So give it a different nod, connect each of them with a central line. What was our central line? Our central line was content writing. Repeat the same process n number of times for generating n number of leads. And you're going to come up with n number of reasons to research and connect and create. So here in topic 4, we are going to learn about how are we going to talk about effective content. How is it different from general content? The broadest structure of content writing over the social media. Each of these social media platforms, Twitters, Facebook, Instagram, are different and unique in their own way. When we compare each of these have their individual USPs. Thus, the content that we are pitching and that we are posting on these social media websites have to be different. When we're talking about creating and promoting brands as an individual, as a market, in the market, there are multiple things that are there. But what makes our content different as a writer should be strategic content. What are the know-hows? How do we need to go about it, etc.? Have to be very much clear to us. Now, here, when we are talking about the entire market, we need to understand how are we targeting the market, in what target segments are we dividing this market. The entire roadmap has to be created for the strategic content. A very common question that comes to me as a trainer is about writer's block. After writing n number of pieces for one given business, this is very much common that there is a repetition of content. People start repeating and people start copying. So it's a big writer's block, but the solution to it is also in it. And we are here in this course defining that solution. We are telling writers how to come over that roadblock and how to move smoothly. Then the entire mind map has to be talked about in terms of creating an outline, creating an objective behind the writing. So here in module 4, this is all about it. Next, we move on to module 5, which is all about technical and research writing. So when we talk about the technical writing, it is an introduction to your manuals, your journals, your articles. I've already talked about all of these in details and their usage. So now here we are talking and moving from the creative aspect to the technical aspect. And we need to understand technical jargons are very important. But when it comes to writing, use of simple terms should be used. Even when you're using an acronym as a whole, the acronym should be explained to the readers. You're not expecting the readers to be technical experts as you are when it comes to technical writing. So here, clear understanding of what your client is requiring is very much important when it comes to any kind of content. So you have to be very much specific. You have to define in what breakup are you writing your content, what listing and short selections are you doing, because again, ultimate requirement of your client has to be met. You have to be accurate. Your content has to be complete as well. It shouldn't look at any point in time that you are just running away with the content to cover up the portion that is given to you. It has to be elaborate enough, and enough justification has to be given to the content. Majorly in this, we are going to talk about research paper writing, thesis, grant writing, manuals, project reports, FAQs. FAQs form a major domain of the internet module. Why? Because here the frequently asked questions are the most important to give any kind of description to a given course. If you go onto our website, there are multiple courses that Henry Harvin offers, but each of these courses also has along with it frequently asked questions that people have. Questions like, is it going to be an online course? Is it going to be an offline course? Am I going to receive any kind of study material, etc.? These are commonly asked questions for any kind of a course. So all these questions are also framed in accordance by some writer. They have been updated from time to time because questions that people ask are updated from time to time. Thus, all these things form a greater part of our module, that is module number 5. This brings us to the 6th module, which is academic writing. Now here, in today's era, we all know that the new normal is the internet, the laptop, the Wi-Fi connection has to be, the broadband has to be perfect. Why? Because people are taking classes and sessions online. This brings us to the academic domain of writing. And in this style of writing, we're going to cover study materials, academic guides, tutorials, e-learning, instructional designs, question banks, workbooks, coursewares, rubrics, etc. All these are different and unique in their own way. Like a question bank is quite different from an instructional design and a workbook. A workbook is that help book that the child is going to take in addition to the main support book that is given to him to read. Question bank refers to the complete summary of the questions that are possible from a given chapter or from a given learning part. The rubrics are basically defined when it comes to judging a child. While one chapter completes or one topic or subtopic completes, I need to check the understanding of my learner. My learner needs to be assessed on certain given parameters. But what are these parameters? How do I, as a trainer, as a teacher, get to know about them? All these are defined parameters. I cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. Similarly, I cannot judge all my learners on one single aspect. There are multiple aspects, rubrics of which I have to create for all my learners. This brings us to the next module, which is our creative writing module. Now here in this module, creative writing is defined at length. Here, we're going to talk about script writing, we're going to talk about blogging, we're going to talk about copywriting, search engine optimization, proposal writing, etc. Each of these things give you wider domain to think and choose from. You're not limited by structure here. You're limited by word limit, definitely, or timing, especially when it comes to writing a script. Writing a script for a short film versus writing a script for an advertisement versus writing a script for a play. Each of these are separate domains. So script writing has multiple domains as each of these individual topics have. So now here, giving you a small example of how to write a script, we introduce the characters first, give it some kind of a setting. Next, we want to know how the climax is rising. We are moving towards the climax, the action rises. Next, we come to the climax itself, that is the battle, and which is followed by a conclusion. But immediately after the climax, we cannot jump on to the conclusion. There are small nitty-gritties that we need to focus upon. So here, this brings us to dialogue writing, creative writing, script writing, fiction writing, article writing. All these are different and unique in their own ways. Module 8 is actually a complete closure or a complete binding of the complete module. Why? Because here we are talking about earning online and talking about international projects as well. So here you are talking about each of these things. How? Let's move ahead and let's see. So now we also give you opportunities wherein we help you revamp your resumes, we help you revamp the specificities of a given job type. Develop skills in the high paying content types such as resume writing, technical writing, book writing, vernacular languages, and focusing on each of these things with their nitty-gritties. So here we are going to cover a lot many things, which includes your writing projects that are available online, choosing the right project. It's not necessary that each one of you might be good at creative writing only. Someone might even be good at technical writing, proposal writing, resume writing, anything. It's a bigger umbrella, and you can choose multiple topics from there. Blogging, escrows, creating your own accounts, ghostwriting, etc. All these would be discussed at length in detail with you during the course. Here are a few recent stories that people from our batches who recently passed have shared. Like we have Khyati, who started her own venture for writing. Zeenat has become a famous author and is now selling her ebooks on Amazon. We have Chandu, who got promoted in his recent job. Chitral, who got a job opportunity which was provided by Henry Harvin. So let's first take a few questions that have appeared in the Q&A and the chat box, and then I'm going to give you a small detailing about what Henry Harvin is, what do we do here, etc. So here someone is asking, what is spinning software? Spinning software is a software which helps you remove plagiarism of content by spinning the article completely, rewriting it completely. But again, this is just a tool, artificial intelligence. It can easily be caught. There are similar softwares on the internet which catch spinning. Okay, now here, SEO refers to search engine optimization. The content that you're pasting or posting on the internet gets uploaded on the internet. But what makes their ranking so? Google ranks each of these things in an order. How do they do so? Depending on the amount of keywords that you have used. Overuse of keywords is again not suggested, but right amount of usage. So what that right amount of usage is, you'd get to know during the course. Someone has asked, what is AI? AI stands for artificial intelligence. We are using everything on the internet, something that is coming written on its own. something that we are posting and someone is rewriting it, all that is a part of artificial intelligence. Someone else, machinery behind, is doing it for us. Are there any weekend courses? Yes, there are both weekdays as well as weekend courses as well. So projects are both, again, I'm repeating, freelancing projects as well as full-time projects. So here, when we are talking about all these projects, these will be told to you during the course. You'd be receiving mails from the team and you'd be getting to know about the course. So let's find out a few things in detail about the course. So the course duration is 32 hours. Both live and online sessions are available, but due to the ongoing pandemic, we are preferring only online courses. There's an extra 24 hours live online brush up session along with 50 hours of e-learning access. The trainers are definitely seasoned people from the industry who have almost n number of years of experience. Internship is guaranteed, as I had stated earlier. Alumni status, I have already shared a few. I'm going to share a few alumni status as well in the later half with you. You can also find these online on YouTube, on our Google page, etc. The certification is a hallmark of CDCW, and it has to be next to your name. Definitely, you are opting for it, so it has to be from your name. And here we are talking about n number of things. So let's understand these n number of things in detail. Like when you're talking about the e-learning access, it includes your recorded videos, your games, your projects, as well as case studies. The brush up sessions would include 12 monthly brush up sessions for 1 complete year. And the complete package is 6,000 rupees, but it appears for you for free if you're opting for the course. Your writing academy opportunities, wherein job opportunities every week would be shared with you people, both freelancing as well as full-time. So when we talk about the institute, it said the content writing training industry, we started in 2017. And here it was the first initiative proof that we can check the videos. Every video published from 2017 till 2020, people are all gaga about the course and they're all happy about whatever we've done. We have trainers from across the industry who've been working themselves either as freelance trainers or as full-time trainers with top ranking industry specialists. Now, the ranking obviously is, we are ranked as #1 and there's no second thought about it. You ask trainers, you ask people who've been associated with us during the courses, everybody has the same output for Henry Harvin. Now here, we have also shared our details in the chat box. If anybody wants to log in and ask any kind of details or wants to ask any personalized questions, the numbers have been flashed on the chat box. You can have a look. Now here, when we are talking about the writing curriculum, we have worked across domains. We have worked across with multiple organizations, and the trainers themselves are experienced in the industry. We have affiliations from the American Association of EFL, UK certification, UKAF, Content Writing Association in India certification, MSME, and Government of India certification as well. The internship opportunities are guaranteed. There's no second thought about it. All you need to do is you need to apply for the same. You'd be getting a link on your mail and you need to follow the same. Job support, we have tie-ups, but then it is your wish. You want to go for a freelancing job or you want to go for a full-time job. So here are a few institutional clients that we are linked up with. You can have a quick look here. The Ford School of Management, MDI Gurgaon, IMI, BITS Pilani. These are a few to name under the big brands. These are a few of our corporate clients, and we've worked happily and served happily for them. The media reputation definitely is great, and you'd find us all over the newspapers as well as the web. even the news, e-news nowadays, through the various ranking portals. These are the rankings that the institution has received over the years. Now here, I'm going to talk in detail about the courses. So if I look at individually all of these courses, the content writing basic course, which includes your language as well as your internet skill, is somewhere around 9,000 on an average if you go out and check out other people. The business marketing writing is somewhere around 6,000 rupees. Module 3, the content strategy alone, if learned, is 6,000 again. Technical and research writing is again 6,000. Academic writing again is 6,000 as an individual course. Creative writing again is 6,000. And the last, earning online, someone who's telling you all these things and telling you about the international projects, 6,000, around 6,000 bucks, you have to shell out from your pocket. But when we are offering to you 7-in-1 courses, we are taking not 45,000 or 46,000 from you, but we are only taking 12,500. So here it is a quick opportunity for you to log in right now, enroll yourself, and see the additional discount as well.